Toys Go Green.
Toys Go Green. The Fair Toys organization moving towards fair and sustainable toys. Christian Krömer of Toys Krömer and Axel Gottstein from sigikid, manufacturer of cuddly toys. They're here live. Enjoy. Hello. Welcome from my part. We're really happy to be here today in Nuremberg. Normally we'd be here all week with the exhibition. We're here on our own, but in a great studio, and we know that the entire toy trade is watching us. There's Christian Krömer. Always has been a toy trader. He's got 4 children. He's 36 years old, and we've got 24 shops in Bavaria. So somebody who knows what toy retail is all about. And next to me is Axel Gottstein. I'll be really nice to Axel in the next half hour because he just made me 3 years younger. Oh, thank you very much. Really, I like you. He's 53 years old. He has 3 children. He's married, and for 53 years he's been with sigikid company, and he's been their executive director. We know sigikid. They've got cuddly toys, trendy toys from children from 0 to 6 years, and they produce in Upper Franconia. They also produce in Asia, and this will be worldwide. And this will be a topic, very exciting topic in our talk. We not only talk about ourselves as manufacturers and retailers, but also we talk about what retailers see. We talk about fair toys. As you can see in the middle, we're both members. But I would like to ask Christian with the first question. And ask you, what do you sell? Well, we sell toys of all kinds, some sort of stationery as well. As it starts, you start with a basic range of products, then they have some trend stuff, and we have classical topics, and in the end, you've got really a mishmash of articles of products we have. It's really exciting when we talk about fair toys and green toys. Do you really think about what you have in your shop, where it comes from, how it was manufactured? Does this play a role in your range? Yes, it does. It has done so forever. I mean, we don't get any suppliers. The main suppliers, we're really critical. We try to go to their locations. We look at their manufacturing facilities, and we have a look at and see what's happening there. And so, to be quite honest, can't do this with the trend products. You never have 100% security, and that is the way you would wish it to be. As manufacturers, it's the same thing. I make sure that I have a look at the manufacturing sites. I go around the world, I look at the manufacturing sites, so I can see what happens there. Are they produced well? Our brand stands for this. We have a well-produced product. But of course, this is the question, what is fair? I mean, this is a question that many people have been asking themselves. If we talk about fair products, this from fair trade, in food. So, this coffee that has been grown in a fair manner. What does this mean for you? What's a fair product when it comes to toys? Of course, at the moment, it's a topic for all of society. We're all really very familiar with this, and it touches us every day. And so for me, it means that it's humane, that people's dignity is respected. That's the main point. We live in the West, and for us, it's very clear that you pay fairly, that your staff has possibilities of developing, that you treat them in a fair manner. So, and we really attach great importance to that. But of course, it's not just about the social topics, but also about the sustainability topics. But particularly, what I would be interested in, from you as a manufacturer, you're a founder member of the Fair Toys organization, and so I would really be interested in how do you define the topic as a manufacturer? What's fair for you? For us, it's a difficult question, of course. I always look at what my father always said. He said, I've been there I started there as a baby, in this company. a member of staff is never a number. It's never. You have to see them as human beings, and that's what we do with our manufacturing partners. In various, we produce in Germany, we produce manufacture in Eastern Europe, and also in Asia. When I go there, I make sure that the staff is treated fairly, and that we look at them as people, and we make this a humane surrounding, so that people do something that is right for them. I'm not so much in the topics of, sort of that they can form trade unions or something like that, but I mean, they have a holistic manufacturing project. If somebody sits at a sewing machine and only does one movement all day, our philosophy is that they should accompany the product right from the beginning to end, and that gives you a completely different relationship to the product, and that's also fair, part of fairness. And it's a topic that comes from humane working conditions. And I think it's really important that you don't just greenwashing, but that you really take this topic as something that's a topic that's close to your heart. Today, it's very popular to say, of course, you have to be sustainable and you have to use all these buzzwords, but you have to go to the locations and you have to look at these topics in concrete terms. Very often, there's a big obstacle in between. It's often just marketing, of course, and that's something that in Fair Toys we take as our philosophy. Of course, when it comes to the Fair Toys organization, we have clear standards we follow, and they are defined by the ILO, the International Labour Organization, by developmental goals, and so we have standards that we try to get them into the company, establish them in the companies. What's important in Fair Toys, we're not a company organization. There are very many different people who are a participant, many stakeholders in the market, but it's nothing but a round table where everybody is, manufacturers, NGOs who don't come from the economics. Then we have retailers and other people, and we talk about it. How can we improve things? Not only just talk about it. I think that's really important that you say this. I mean, we talk about multi-stakeholders, and sort of nobody can really imagine what this is like, but it's really important to have this explained. What does it mean? So Fair Toys is basically the story is quite old. Really, it started in Nuremberg by the NGOs, a Christian initiative. Mike Pflaum, hello, you got it all going. One of these people, and of course an association formed which has 30 members by now. We are a year and a half old, and some Haber, noch Fischertechnik, huge major companies, and we really make any effort to get these fair standards ahead into the companies. I think this is a really important keyword to come to manufacturing. I would like to go back to how do you do this with sigikid? How do you monitor production? And is this possible in a country such as China? I mean, can you do that? I mean, I don't really know. I'm really a bit skeptical when somebody tells me this is all audited. We've been to China and looked at it, but you never really know. Is this just? Are you just taken? To sort of do the just show you a bubble? Or is it? Can you monitor this? And you, as a more sort of smaller manufacturer, do you have a chance to get to the location? Do you go there? Do you go there yourself? It's a lot of questions, but these are the topics that I find really, really, really important. And retailers ask us, and consumers ask us, how do you do this? And of course, we're a small, medium-sized company, and so I have a very small volume of manufacturing. I can't tell the manufacturer, you have to do it this and this way, and then a major company comes and says, oh no, you do it differently. Please, all the manufacturers, do join us in this association. The more we are, the more come into this association, the easier it is to get these things through, to actually implement them. I do it through personal contact. I know people, I know the manufacturers. They're not really huge manufacturers with 10,000 of employees. They're sort of small and medium companies. I know the owners, I know the families. We go for a meal, so we have a kind of personal contact. And via this personal contact, of course, you can take a lot, communicate a lot, and explain and talk about the topics with them. This is what we think is important. We look at the manufacturing sites with our purchasers. We go and we do spot checks. But what's important in the Fair Toys organization, we don't want an organization that just sticks a sticker on and says this is a fair product. We would like to change people's awareness and mindsets. We would like to transport this value of fair production as in the sense of a humane working process. We want to anchor this in people's minds. This idea of a better working world, this value has to be transported into the companies. And the best way of monitoring is if the entrepreneur says, I look after my people. So what do you do in your shop, in your retail? How do you see yourself as a fair company? This is a big question. You know, a few years ago, you didn't really think about this a few years ago. And if I think a few years ago, you really were only doing some greenwashing. How do I sell myself to the outside world? What do I have to say so people think I'm a good guy? So this is not the general idea behind this. Fair, to me, if I look at my staff, that's my hard topic. I want to give them the possibility, on the one hand, of really be able to live off the money they deserve. We have a lot of women. We have a lot of women in the shops. We're talking about gender equality. We know sort of we need more men. Maybe we have 10 men and 100 women, you know. So it's really necessary. You can talk about equal opportunity and whatever, but having children is a major topic. And for me, it's really important that I have flexible working time models, that I give my members of staff possibility to maybe come back in part-time employment, but that during that time when they're at home, they're still part of our company, that you keep in touch with them, that you inform them about any things that are new. And I really feel very strongly about these topics. The other topic, fairness, is working. We have children in the shops. We're working for children. So I'm a father myself, so I want quality for these children. And we want this. We want to offer the children this quality. And so it's really important that we think about how to do this. We can't really expect the customer to read all the packages. We have to go to China, maybe. We have to go to these manufacturing sites so we can tell our customers that we are behind this, that these things are free of toxins and other things, that there's no child labor in the factories, and you completely underestimate the topic. It's such a major topic worldwide, and that concerns all of us to a certain extent. We're all in this wonderful situation in Germany that for us this is not a topic. Sometimes there's a wood manufacturer where the children help on a Sunday, but you really have to make sure to see that you can, with a clear conscience, say, if you buy stuff, you're not supporting something bad. How do you do this, however, when, for example, you have a trend product, a rubber ball that jumps and jumps and jumps, and so all of a sudden the market wants this and they all want to buy it? Would you say, no, I don't buy this because basically I don't know whether this has been produced under humane conditions, or is the market so strong that you say, I can't really do without this article? In the presentations, and when you talk about sustainability, in the lectures we saw that consumers often don't really have a focus on sustainability, but price is at the top. That's what I said. Of course, 95% we can make sure that we can stand behind this product and that we can say this has been produced according to the values of the fair trade organization will never be able to do this 100%. You have to start somewhere, but you mustn't be too pernickety. Of course, in the end of the day, we are merchants. And if there's a mega trend, and I say no, I don't take this because there's not even the time to check whether this is produced under fair conditions. These producers, they didn't exist before. They will not exist shortly afterwards. So you don't know them. You have a 50-50, ideally a 50-50 chance that you're lucky and it's okay in the production. But you really have to jump on that bandwagon. We can't really basically not afford to do this because the preparation time is not there. Last Tuesday we had a discussion also in the toy fair when we're talking about Fridays for Future. Who's prepared from the toy industry not to do turnover to protect human rights? This is a process. You're talking about something that concerns all of society. Who's prepared to do less, to have less? If it's, you can say this when you're sitting around a table drinking a beer, but when it comes to buying things, you maybe act completely differently. And I think this is a topic you can't really change people's awareness overnight. It has to be a slow movement. Fair Toys organization is not a seal that you put on a toy. It's a value. It's communicating a value. We created an organization, and the companies who joined, they tried to have a different mindset in their economic thinking. I'm still thinking in economic terms. We have to earn money, but the topic of sustainability, and I would expand this, is ecology. It's about fairness. It's about reasonable and good working processes. We have to get this into companies' management, into company philosophy, and so this must be established as a concept. The more we can manage to do this, every revolution starts with a little step. And if you save one child, you save the world. You have to start somewhere. You have to start doing these steps. You talked about certificates. I think this is an important topic because that's one reason why you joined the FTO as an institution. Because how do we manage to have transparency? How do we manage to achieve this? Do you really believe that we can do this? If yes, how long will it take? And this is a point, of course, we're talking about it today. It's always really easy. The first step is easy, but how do you get people to really stand behind this concept? How can we say we have a fair market in our business sector? I told you it's a process. We started, and it will be a wave. My dream is that next year we come to the toy fair, and we won't have Friday for Future, we'll have Thursday for Choice. And on Thursday, we'll be talking about fairness in manufacture, in sustainability. This is a major path ahead of us, and the stakeholders are really aware of this, that this won't happen overnight. It's a step-by-step process, but we're going this step. We're going these steps, and I think that's what the brilliant thing about it. And when it comes to the German Toy Retailers Association is there, so and Toy Producers Association is with us. So the industry knows about it. It's not a topic because the consumer wants it, but it's something we need to get convictions in people's heads. I don't know whether next year the people in the field, the environment must be done, must be helped as fast as possible. In June last year, there was a video conference where we were involved as retailers. I was invited, and I thought, Fair Toys organization, I'll have a look. And, you do so many video conferences, one more or less doesn't really matter. So I started to get involved, and I said, we have to want to have retailers, maybe one day, maybe we'll meet again in autumn, and so on. And so I reached a point where I said, that's complete rubbish. It's nonsense. If you want to achieve something, we have to start now. We can't say, maybe sometime we will be looking at framework conditions. But I think when they are right, I think we have to design this proactively. I think from all areas. And if retail is there involved right from the beginning, we have completely different possibilities to get our suppliers. It's an important important topic. That's why we said we want to join. And this is, at one point, we want to be some sort of fair toys seal. How do you see this topic? Is this a goal in your company that you want to FTO certificate or something? I don't do this for getting a seal. That's not my motivation for joining and working here, because I think it's really communicating values. But of course, we have to communicate and help our members in their communication. But we're not going to introduce a certificate. If you buy 2 bottles of beer, then you save the rainforest. And we want to show a way how we can kind of sort of praise what efforts companies make. We can't change the world from one day to the next. We've done this with Fairway. It's the same process as children's fashion. We want to show what steps do you take, how can you implement this, and what do you have to do for this. So the Fair Toys seal is a signal saying it honors the efforts people make to implement this. We have to think a lot about this until it's completely fitting. If you want to join, and do join us in the association, it's an open platform. We discuss, we talk about topics openly. There's lots of very different opinions, and we try to find a common path. And you're really hot for this topic, but you've really been involved right from the very beginning. You joined as well. You joined us, but it's easy to see that you really completely invested in this. It's very important that you show this to our suppliers and communicate this to our suppliers, because I think in the end it's always a chain. We talked very briefly outside about the topic. Often suppliers talk to people who are salespeople because they want to tell something. But I think it's really important that we have to get this to the customer, and it's via the salespeople in our shop. And we have to, this chain must be uninterrupted. You have to think it right from the beginning. You don't just want to sell something, but you want to sell it, and at the same time you want to transport the values that you have. And so even somebody who works as a shop assistant in the shop says, okay, you can buy this with a clean conscience because I know how it works, that they showed me and I saw it, and you don't do anything wrong if you buy this. And I think that's something that's the most important thing, why we have to manage to get retailers on board and convince them that we as retailers, we don't have so many, but you can communicate it. We can communicate it. You can broadcast it to the outside world. We have to make sure that the manufacturers implement it, but we need you as so we can communicate it to the consumer together. I see 2 tasks: to communicate to the consumer, but also I see the task that we make pressure on our suppliers. At one time, this pressure will come from society. I'm convinced it will come from society, but we too must make sure that they say, people, it's not possible that you not get involved in something like this, like Fair Toys organization. In our world today, it's important to have some social commitment, not just thinking about money, but think it right through from beginning to end. And I think we've got 2 tasks in retail, and I would really be very happy if more retailers would join this forum. I'm the only retailer so far. Again, my advertising, I can only appeal to all the retailers. It doesn't hurt. You can really get involved and be proactive in this process, and can get involved and say your opinion, and not just say, no, I'm paying my membership fee, and it's much better to design something than join when everything has been designed. So join us. Idee und Spiel and whoever, and all the German retailers associations, do join us in the Fair Toys organization, because it's a great community, and the bigger it is, the more successful we will be. And I think this toy sector really deserves something like that. Now the major trend in this toy fair is toys go green. Is this for you a trend? Is this a trend? Is that the right word? No. I think it's completely wrong, and I said it's completely wrong way of wording this. First of all, it's not a trend. It's a basic mood in society, and a trend is something that comes and goes. It's not a trend that comes and goes. And I think go green, to me, the fairness topic is not really involved enough. We have to talk about fairness. Green or is just, ecological. It's just wood and but it's also about people, and fairness is very, very important. And I think the major topic is sustainability. That's another fashionable word, but I mean, I think this is really important. If we manage next year to have a Thursday for toys, for sustainability, for future, I think it's a much better an idea for success than just toys go green. I'm not a great fan of toys go green. I can understand it from trade fair marketing point of view, but it's much more than just green. How do you think consumers see it? But I would like to hear I know it's my topic, but I want to hear what you think. Consumers, parents, depends on the generation, of course. Young consumers, young parents are thinking more and more in this direction, and also attach value to this and demand this. Maybe not prepared from pricing to pay for it. The same story. You have to tell me whether you think the same. But I think consumers, young parents, and more will attach value to this and will also make sure that this is actually happening. I think this is a process. It's the same for all of us. We all won't change from one day to the next, but very slowly we will have to get used to the idea that we can't treat the world as we have been doing it in the past years. And I do believe that in the end, people will notice this in the pricing. If I pay more money, I want to pay more money to my staff so they can live off this salary. And if I want to work profitably, I will have to hand some of it on to the consumer so I can afford to do it. Otherwise, it's the topic again. If I have to save with my staff, then I do exactly what is important for me. So the consumer, at one point, the consumer will be prepared to pay this euro more, and I don't think things will work any other way. I think that this is the development we will have, and I think it's good because it has to be profitable for companies, otherwise it won't lead to anything. Let's see what happens. We'll stay tuned. We'll keep building up this organization. If you want to join, the links give you a contact to Fair Toys. They have their office in Nuremberg. I thought it was really great to discuss with you, with a retailer, not with a manufacturer. Maybe next year we can continue the discussion, and I hope we will be a bit further on. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen in the next year. It's great that we don't just give a lecture and say what's Fair Toys and blah blah, but that we discuss, that we talk, and I think that's what people want to hear. That they want to have a critical approach, and they can say what's not going so well. And I think, even though I praise myself, I think we managed quite well. I've always been watching the Toy Business Forum. The digital format is really more fun than I thought it would be. So keep posted, watch it. This is Nuremberg Toy Fair. It's a very great show for the toy trade, and you always have the chat to ask questions. And Jenny, our moderator, who's been doing this right throughout this show, she's probably got a few questions from the chat, and of course we're there to answer them. And of course you can always get in touch with us, write to us. The links are somewhere, and discuss with us. Thank you. And we can cope with critical voices as well. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Christian and Axel. I come behind the logo, and I have to say we're enthusiastic. We completely community is enthusiastic, and there are no questions because they all have their mouths open. And I have to say, mega commitment. They're enthusiastic, and I think you will get a lot of positive feedback. There will be some questions afterwards, I'm sure, but at the moment they're all stunned. Thank you very much. That was really great. Stay healthy and successful, and I hope it will be a mega organization. Thank you very much, Christian and Axel.